Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Namaste experience here at Namaste Village. It is so great to have all of you and all of you and all of you all, to have it all, to have the mystery of the all. I was thinking just a moment ago of that mystery and our attraction to the mysterious. This evening, those of you who live here know that this evening I'm going to be performing under my alter identity of Frederick James. Frederick James apparently is the greatest psychic in the world. Did you read that in the newspaper? Yeah. When in reality, it says the greatest psychic in the world, but the real focus of this performance is to show that you, each one of you, is the greatest psychic in the world because of the mystery that we are allowing, the mysterious reality of now, this moment that takes over when we choose to be here in this moment right now. It's so mysterious and so beautiful and wonderful, and we're attracted to it. And often there is that part of our mind that wants to figure it out. Well, why am I so happy now as opposed to how I was feeling, last month or a year ago? Something has changed. I want to figure it out. No, you don't. It's like those of you who will be attending the show this evening, um, there's going to be part of you that's going to want to know how it works. You don't. It's so much better just to live in the mystery and to enjoy that mysterious energy of now. Just leave it. Let's not worry about it. To just live in the mysterious mystery of now and leave the rest. Just leave it. Just leave it. Just leave it all because we don't need anything but what's happening right here, right now. Right? Does that make sense? So that being said, I want to read a little something. Stop looking there. Look at me. You don't need to look here. Look at me. Ravi's distracting me by trying to get the TV working. You're not in the now. Just all right. Let me read something here. So, how many of you have been feeling this joy that's been welling up inside you that I mentioned before? You've been feeling it's like something is just erupting joy. And you don't really know where it is coming from, except you do, except you know totally. You just can't put your finger on it because it's non-localized. It's not that I'm happy because of this or I'm happy because of that. I'm happy because of everything, because there's something that's awakening within my mind. And that's the only thing that's important. That's the mystery. I don't need to figure that out. And if you feel the need to figure it out, just let it go. Ravi, I'm turning this off. Oh, it's back. Okay. I saw Ravi looking at the screen. I thought he was looking at a blank screen again. The mystery of right now. Okay. All right. So let me read a little bit of it. The joy you're feeling is the result of losing your need to hold your thoughts together in a sequential time association. Your need to hold it all together in a straight line to go from A to Z. Effort, well, it takes great effort, but to hold that sequential time reference, you're losing your need to do that. There's more space in between this and that. Ooh, that's pretty good. There's more space in between this and that. It's all just here. Does that make sense? Yeah. We don't have to figure out how we're going to get from this to that. We just need to be here right now. And the more we just allow that to be, the more it kind of feels like our mind is a sieve. How many of you have been feeling that? You can't hold it together like you once did. And the first thought is going to be senility. Oh, I'm losing my mind. No, it's a sign of enlightenment. It's one of the symptoms of enlightenment. You can't hold it together like you used to. The sequential time association is loose. It's not tight as it once was. Okay. Before, that would have felt like death. And it would have been, just not the death of anything that's real. It would have been the death of the unreality you've claimed until now. It would have been the death of the unreality that you've claimed until now, the unreal you. And until now, that's been very frightening. Letting go of who you thought you were, letting go of what you thought you needed, letting go of everything and just being present. That's the source of that joy. There's no need associated with it. You've probably all been feeling that. I don't need what I thought I needed. Those of us who move to a place like Mexico or wherever you are, you're finding the joy of simplicity. The people who live here, they live in houses or apartments that are probably a tenth of the size of the one you left, right? And you probably have a tenth of the possessions that you had before you came here. But isn't it great? I was a little too excited. Yeah. Between Scott and Ravi, I just don't know. I'm not correcting him. I'm correcting you, but I'm not. That's right. Isn't that funny how that works? Okay, let's get back to it. Okay. The unreality of claim now, the unreal you, and until now it's been very frightening. Giving up the you thought yourself to be is the greatest fear you've ever known. But it's also the only thing blocking you from realizing that the you were afraid of was never real. Does that make sense? Well, good. I hear a voice coming from the kitchen. Very much so, he said. Let me read it one more time in case, because yes, it does land because you're ready for that. You've come far enough outside your shell so that it does land, but now we need to leave that shell altogether. And there's nothing that feels more vulnerable than leaving the shell altogether, that which we thought was keeping us safe. So once again, giving up the you thought yourself to be is the greatest fear you've ever known, but it's also the only thing blocking you from realizing that the you were afraid of losing was never real. Another way to say that would be you never needed that shell. You never needed to protect yourself. There was never any danger. The danger is all in your mind. It was nothing but the accumulation of separating attack and defense thoughts. The accumulation of attack and defense thoughts. But you can only see how insane that is when you look at it directly. And that's what we're doing here. That's what we do here every day. We look at the insanity of the ego split mind directly. And it's only when you do that that you can see, why did I ever believe this? Why did I ever trust this? Why would you want to be an accumulation of separating attack and defense thoughts? You can only want that if you're not conscious of what you really want. That's what's changing. That's what's shifting. You become conscious of what you really want. In other words, you can only want the unreal if you don't realize it's not real. The instant you realize that you've been seeking after illusion, you'll give them up. But only when you have a direct experience of what reality actually is. The direct experience. That's always what we come back to, isn't it? Not the indirect. The indirect experience would be when you trust someone who you believe is having the experience. When you trust a guru or a master or whatever. And there is a point in our spiritual evolution where that's important. We have to trust that there is one who has actually gone before us, who has walked the path before us and has had that illumination. And then the desire within us builds to the point that we walk that same path. Does that make sense? Okay. In other words, you can't want what is until you release your tight grip on what isn't. That's the only thing a master teacher or a whole mind is here to get you to do. Let go of what isn't. That's the direct experience. The direct experience comes when you let go of what isn't. But first, you have to realize that what you thought you were, you are not. What you thought reality was, it is not. It is something that is wholly contained within your experience in this moment, if you would choose to know that. And this is where we are. This is how far we've come. Joining as we do here almost every day just keeps those spark plugs sparking until the light shines in every direction. So that being said, I'm going to turn to Vicki and let Vicki take it from there. Good morning to you, Victoria.
Good morning, Brother James. Good morning, everybody. It's beautiful Friday morning, and I'm going to remember for all of us that Scott does Flashback Friday after we finish. And two things came to mind as you were speaking. And the first one, another way of saying what you were saying of living right now, letting go of what isn't, is acceptance. It's lack of resistance. And what happens when we're in a state of love, there isn't anything you want to resist. And there's a knowing in that. Maybe you look with wonder, but you also are open to what could be without the definition of a judgment that it's good or bad, that it's this or that. It's a state almost, I guess it's a childlike state. It's that childlike open-heartedness and open-mindedness to let everything be. And really living in the now is that. It's no resistance. And this was the other piece. And when I find resistance in myself, when there's tension of any kind, that's exactly the transformative moment of healing right there. And if we can allow it to be what it is, not resist it, accept it, and open only to the truth of what this could be, and all it ever is us somehow grasping, like you said, of what's not real, of what isn't. Tension is the grasping of what isn't. And of course, that's going to be difficult to do since it isn't. The other thing I wanted to say before I forget it. Oh, I love the idea of you being the greatest psychic in the world, because we can share in that. Because what is it to be psychic except to know that what isn't love is fear? And it's not so hard to be psychic and recognize, oh, my brother's fearful, I'm fearful. Oh, this is love, I'm in love. And to ask and let the correction happen within ourselves. So I just wanted to mention that. But I want to go back a minute, Calico will like this, to the transformative moment that's always before us if we're not experiencing a deep peace and an extension and a gratitude. Just the way love comes with gratitude, it's almost, at least in my experience, impossible that it doesn't come with gratitude. I'm just grateful. Grateful that I don't know what anything means, but grateful that love is the very action through each of us, through me right now, that allows what isn't to fall away. And the first place it can fall away is when I see I'm grasping onto some principle, some situation. I want to be different. I want this or I want that. And the principle of non-resistance is as old as time, literally as old as time. Awareness somehow came in to resist not evil. That's how it's said in the Bible. Resist not evil. Agree quickly with your adversary. All of that activity is a way of not resisting and a way of coming into acceptance. But the truth is, that's why this is so personal. we come into acceptance of the truth within ourselves, to find out what that truth is within ourselves without arguing or wrestling with it. When we don't argue or wrestle with something, it literally does die of neglect. It falls away because we're not keeping it up. We're not building it up with more blocks of fear and more blocks of make-believe. We're standing back, not resisting, allowing and accepting what really is. And for those moments of tension, knowing that love is might only be a mental thought. It takes that moment of letting it be, let the tension be, for it to drop down into our heart and come as an integrated experience that we have been freed from false beliefs. We've been freed from grasping onto what isn't. Whatever we think it is, you know, the news or health conditions or relationships, none of it is. What is a state of that field that Rumi talks about. I'll meet you in that spaciousness of love. I'll meet you in the kingdom of love. The kingdom of heaven is the kingdom of love, and we all have direct access to it when we stop where we are and we open heart, open mind, especially in the tension moments. Those are the moments of healing. That's when our minds turn into the light that we are in our awareness. Our minds are always light. They don't change. We were created as the light and love of God. Nothing changed. Nobody went in and did something except that we did. We came up with these ideas of what isn't. So those moments of tension, if we can just step back and not resist, let it be what it is, acceptance, then we open up and we let love come forward in our experience. We let grace come into our awareness, and the tension that held us, we no longer hold on to, so it dissolves. It cannot help but dissolve, but that cannot help happen until we each experience it that way. So that's what I heard, and I love that we're all psychic. It's easy to recognize when we're in fear or we're in love. And when we're in fear, stop, drop, and pray, right? Just stop a minute, stop holding on, let it go, accept. Because what are we accepting? We're accepting the universality, the oneness of love, of our creator and how we are created. We're accepting that love's got us, that we are being cared for. Is Dove in the room today? Love is our sustenance. It's the only thing that we need to put our attention on, because it's all that's always and has been true. And when we take our attention off what isn't and put our attention on what is, there's an ascension in us. We rise, but we're not really rising. We're coming into the awareness of what has always been. And what seemed to be in the way just falls away. So acceptance, non-resistance, and welcoming of everything. More like a child, to welcome with wonder and to find out for ourselves in the most intimate and little things that happen to us. In our day-to-day, someone breaks an appointment with us. If we don't get something we were expecting to get, oh, I was looking outside of myself. I was grasping onto what isn't. Oh, I was depending on this relationship. I was grasping on what isn't. Let me relax into what is. Love already is. And when we do that together, when we love together and we resist not evil, when we quickly let go of our grasp and we do that joined in purpose, that's when our will is rejoined with our Creator's will, that we are one with everything. We are one with all life, and that nothing can threaten that. And it can be proved only by our direct willingness to let those moments of tension come, resist them not, let them fall away, and arise in love. So that's my 2 bits again today, Brother James.
Wow, thank you, Vicky. You know, as you were speaking, something came into my mind. I wrote it down here because it's so simple, and yet I think it's the the culmination of everything we're sharing here today, everything we share here every day. And I love it when just a few simple words can describe that. Words are tricky because, as we know, they're symbols of symbols. So they're twice removed from the truth, right? But when you can keep the words really direct and really simple, they hit in just the right way. So this is what I got. What is. What isn't. Pretty simple, eh? We could take it a little further and say love is, fear is not. Fear is not what you need. All you need is love. All you need is love. Just let that just roll through your mind today. All you need is love. What a great way to end our Friday. What a great way to begin the weekend. Love is. In fact, I think yesterday our whole talk was on God is, right? And that's enough. That's all you need to know. Love is. That's enough. Focus there. Let the rest just fall away. What is, what isn't. And we say together, Amen, Amen, Amen,
Amen.
Punto. Indeed. Thank you, everyone. So for those of you who are going to hang
Love
out,
you.
I'm going to turn things over to Scott as soon as I stop the recording.